Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say, on a Sunday, when I come to you with a short discussion on the tax bills, what's going to happen in the ANWR region of Alaska, which is drilling, and it's going to be a disaster. I'm going to open it up with that. I'm going to start with something that is, I picked up about this ecosystem that I wanted you to hear. And I've got a little bit of information about the people that live there. And in 1960, it was American policymakers that recognized the ecological distinctiveness of this land. That's when it was named the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And I have Alaska. People call it Alaska. They, sometimes different things, but good morning. It is a land of herds of caribou, and they are sacred to the indigenous people there. Putting roads in and drilling and all of the things that are going to happen are just maybe cultural genocide for them, no matter what Lisa Murkowski says, the governor. Good morning, Mindy. Thank you for joining. I'll just put a quick good morning, Mindy. Hi. Sunday morning. I've been pretty down over this. And we're going to go into this a little bit more. I have done some notes, and I'm really very upset over this. And I don't even live in Alaska. And maybe I don't have the right to talk about a state I don't live in, but I think that this is a global issue. Alaska is a place of wonder. It is one of the last places left that is unspoiled and untouched, this refuge. And it is purely for greed that this is happening. But don't think that this is brand new. I mean, this is a fight that's been going on for 37 years. When this originally was done in 1960, it was called a 1002 area of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And they had designated this as responsible energy development there. But nobody wanted to do it for a long time. And there were a lot of fights over this. But for years, Alaskan Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski has tried to industrialize the protected wilderness. And in the very early hours of Saturday morning, she got her wish. The GOP's tax bill passed the Senate and included in it as authorization for oil and gas drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Without recognizing the irony, Murkowski said this early Saturday via a statement posted to her website. Tonight is a critical milestone in our efforts to secure Alaska's future. That's not what we see. She's talking about the number of jobs the project will create when she mentions the state's future. But long term, one wonders how the state will clean up the mess once the demand for oil runs out as renewable energy sources, solar, wind, and the batteries that come with it become cheaper and economically smarter options. Yes, they have their problems, but they're not oil. And there are not going to be spills that are going to generate massive cleanups. And of course, the junior senator from Alaska, he went along with all of this. They have been pushing this. They have just been pushing this. He said this history about the 1002 area is, it wasn't lost on him. He said, today's historic vote is yet another milestone in bringing us that much closer to realizing a decades-long dream of opening that section of ANWR. The Senate's tax bill is 479 pages long, and it isn't searchable because basically this is the government, our government we're talking about. This administration is so backwards. The bill was full of additions written in the margins. The tweet from Montana Senator John Tester went viral on Friday night as he showed that the massive bill had scribbles all over it. He said, "This is unbelievable. We're doing massive tax reform on absolute incredible timeline. This is going to affect everybody in this country. It's going to shift money from middle-class families to the rich. It's amazing." And we've been given this 25 minutes ago, and we're supposed to vote on it in a couple of hours. So they voted on the decimation of that area in Alaska, in my opinion. My parents have been to Alaska. They went in the 90s and brought back, and they went not on a cruise or anything like that. They went and flew all over, even though it's using fossil fuel. They have their own plane. My parents were travelers, world travelers, and the pictures of Alaska, I lived vicariously through them. I have not been able to do that myself, and I would like to, as I've talked about here. One Republican didn't vote for it. And of course, so President Jimmy Carter signed the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act on December 2nd, 1980. The bill preserved millions of acres of Alaskan wilderness and set aside a coastal plain in one national wildlife refuge for resource development per congressional approval. Now, 37 years later, to the day, Alaska woke up to the possibility that drilling would begin in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, decades after it was first promised. Like I said earlier, this was something that has been in the mind of these oligarchs for 37 years. And what I want to do is talk a little bit more about Murkowski and her donors. This bill decision to include 2 leases sales in the coastal plain of ANWR in its tax reform bill is welcome news for the 70% of Alaskans who have supported development in the area, specifically set aside for oil and gas. I don't know if, for me, the verdict is out. I can't see that being something that is so popular for short-term jobs. I think it hurts. I think it hurts a lot, and it hurts the world. But notwithstanding, I really want to talk about her a little bit, because all this is just the same, more of the same. They're taking a spiritual place, rich in traditions, and I do not believe that this is in the best interest. So let's start looking at Lisa Murkowski. She's grew up in Alaska, 3 generations. She knows her state. I'm not saying she doesn't. She actually understands that climate change is real, and it is. But she's a hypocrite because she supports the drilling of oil. It's looking at short-term gain for the state. These jobs are not going to be overwhelming. They're looking, instead of looking at all of the newer industries, like I said before, it's just short-sighted. But this is what we're going to go into right now, short and sweet. These are her donors. Carnival Corporation, cruise line, Alaska, cruise ships, biggest polluters in the world. ConocoPhillips, $80,000. Trident Seafoods, Edison, Truist Offshore, PG&E Energy, and she's the Energy Committee chair in the Senate. Another energy, Cheniere Energy, Ellicott Management, Next Era Energy, Pinnacle West Capital. Now, this was funny. A donor, State of Alaska. How does the State of Alaska donate to a senatorial campaign? NORPAC, BP, ExxonMobil, General Communication Inc., and she also has some of those pipeline companies in her pocket. So, not to make this a very long day, I can't sleep. I'm upset. I want to talk about this. Maybe I drank a lot of coffee this morning, so I'm a little bit off my game. It's early, but we're going to take a couple of the comments and just wrap this up with the fact that this is just more of the same. Lisa Murkowski is a bought-off politician by the fossil fuel industry. They've been chopping at the bit for 37 years to do this. They are going to go in first in that 1002 area that was set aside and never done. And they are going to drill. There's going to be leaks. There's going to have to be infrastructure built into the pristine lands where wildlife will not flourish anymore. They will pollute the water. They will pollute the land. That's the bottom line. And that is my statement here. Torstein, what always happens in the Norwegian Arctic is big oil promises thousands of new local jobs there. Then real life unfolds and 3 guys get a job. The rest are bought in from the south. Wow. Thank you, Torstein. It is just so wrong. It is wrong to where my stomach hurts. Heidi has a comment too. Let's see. She said she saw on C-SPAN the hearings where Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski was riding roughshod over Washington Senator Maria Cantwell. You're right. I hope I spelled their names right. I also despise seeing this happen. Yes, this is a national nightmare. My grandparents did take a cruise in Alaska about 20 years ago, and it has changed. Absolutely. It is. I'm going to try. If I have something left in me, if I can find the money to go to Greenland and Alaska, I've been saying this, and it's hard. You can't do everything. That's what I have today. It's a travesty, along with everything else that's going on, but ANWR particularly. And I think we just have to stay tuned. And I would like to know if we have any Alaska viewers, because I think I need to find someone to give me another perspective from Alaska. So, not to keep you guys all day, it's Sunday, and we've been 23 minutes. And I've done it. We are patently dead set against this. Thank you, Trevor. How are you? Mindy says we should take a cruise. I hate cruises. If I go anywhere, I'm going, and you have to fly. I'm going right to New York. I would like to do that, but anyway, I'm just rambling. Everybody, thank you for coming. Have a wonderful day. Share this. We have to look into everything that's going on in that beautiful state, because it's not just the state. It is not just the United States. It is the world. It is the world. Heidi said 1 minute. Oh, well, I want to try to make this cohesive for the YouTube when I put it up on YouTube. And Heidi says she's sharing. Let's say good morning to Susan. Hi, Susan. I don't see that we're having a whole lot of interaction, because really it is like Judy says, it's disgusting. And what can we do? Kathy says she lived in Alaska as a young child, and she has a few people on her Facebook from there. Well, I'd like to understand. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And thank you, Justin. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.